Rosie Stay at GeekGreens.com. Today, we've got a fun little episode here. Might gross you out a little bit, but that's the traditional story of all my episodes. This is GeekGreens after all. Today, I'm going to show you how to get rid of the compost, the scraps, the greens, the lettuce, you name it, your lettuce and salads and anything that's not meat, basically, and how to get rid of that from your kitchen and put it to good use in your garden. So let's get started. I have in this box a little surprise for you, and if you look over here, and we'll cut through to that in just a second. If you look over here, we have a bag of worms. And in here, it's kind of hard to see, but you see a little bag of worms. There's worms in here with soil. Ordered this on Amazon and got it delivered. I'll include the link down below. Then over here, I have what's called a worm factory. This is a green, I can stack little things on top. And basically, as Alex walks in front of the camera here, we've got a place for our worms to eat this garbage and other stuff that we feed to them. And we basically harvest their poop, and they're called worm castings is the proper name for it, but it's worm poop, basically. And it goes into here. We take that and we include it in the garden. So let's go ahead and show you how we release the worms into the whatever this is called, into the worm factory. So as you can see in here, we've got a bag of worms. You can order this online, believe it or not. You just go to Amazon.com. I'll include the link down below. But on Amazon, just order your preferred provider of red wiggler worms, and this particular variety will attack your garbage and turn it into nice, yummy compost for your plants. So let's open this up just a little bit here, and I'll show you what it looks like. And actually, all this bag, the worms will eat too, so we're going to put that in a second as well. So don't worry about ripping it up. The worms love it. But as you can see in here, focus in on that. In here, it's kind of hard to see, but there are worms all throughout the soil here. Got about 1,000 of them in here, if it was right. Yeah, so right in there, you can see the worms. Those things are eaten. This is just coconut coir or something like that, maybe peat moss or a combination of that. The worms are in here eating this as they get transported from one place to another. Looks kind of gross, but these are actually really good for your garden. So we're going to take this and we're going to put it inside our worm factory. All right, we have our worm factory here. I include the link down below for where you can get this this worm factory on Amazon. I order almost all of my stuff on Amazon, so just go to Amazon, search for worm factory, or follow the link below, and I'll take you to the best one I know of. So if I open this up, I've actually had worms in here in the past, and the worms actually got flooded out by a recent storm, and then they overheated because they got too much water and too much heat. Most of them died, so it's mostly just rotting material in here. And when you get yours, you're going to need to fill it up with just a little bit of compost or coconut coir, as well as some newspaper and a few other things to get them started, and then start feeding them your kitchen scraps. So I'm going to open up here. Look a little bit gross because this is rotting material in here, but the worms love it. Open it here. You can see we got our rotting material here. It looks lovely. All kinds of little bugs growing on that. That's good for our worms here. Don't let this gross you out. This is all part of nature. And we're just going to take our worms here, and I'm just going to dump them on top of there. We'll just gradually let them in here. And you can can see the worms just wiggling around. They're gonna love this rotting material in here. And as they eat the rotting material, there will be less for the other insects and stuff to get in. So if you see insects in here and stuff, that's because there haven't been worms to break down the material. Now that we have worms breaking down the material, it'll be a lot better. And actually, I bring this inside for the winter, and it doesn't smell, it doesn't provide any new bugs or anything. I just put it in a closet because the worms like the dark anyway. And the worms go nuts. I can just put stuff in, and no one knows it's in my closet except all you guys. And it provides me a way during the winter to compost my kitchen scraps. So you can really do this inside or outside. If it's working properly, it won't smell. If you overwater them or something's not right, if it starts smelling, something's not right with the worms, and you need to either stop watering or make sure they've got food. They're dying if it smells. That's basically it. So I'm taking my newspaper and I'm putting it over here because, or the paper that the worms are in, because this will cover and prevent things like fruit flies and stuff like that from growing in here. It also protects the worms a little bit. They like the dark. So, if we've got the worms in here and cover it, the dark protects them, keeps them a little bit cooler, and they'll actually go further into here where it's a little cooler too. So it'll be pretty safe. I keep it under a shade and a cover where hopefully rain doesn't get to it. I had it out a little bit, which is why my past batch died on me. But these should thrive as long as I've got them covered in the shade. They're not getting too hot. And actually I could leave them out in the winter for the most part and they won't get too cold. And I've actually got some more newspaper here. I'll cover it with this newspaper here, and you can see here I've got spare boxes I've been putting on top. They'll eat all of that. Eventually all of this will decompose and the worms will take it. And I'll just take more kitchen scraps, and I'll take more kitchen scraps and put them on top of here and just gradually fill it all up with kitchen scraps, and the worms will eat it gradually, and then I'll cover more with newspaper as it goes, and just kind of create kind of a lasagna of newspapers and kitchen scraps and more newspapers and kitchen scraps, maybe some cardboard and kitchen scraps, and the worms love it. The more food they have, the more they'll eat, and the more they'll reproduce as well and grow. So this is basically how it works. I'm going to put the lid back on here. Okay, so there you go. This is it. You've got the worm factory here. No one will even know there are worms in here. Another cool little piece of this here is you've got this little hose nozzle here. If I have a little gallon container here. If I take this little gallon container, I fill it with water. I actually take it from water from the pond that's already got fish stuff in it and stuff. And I pour it right over here. But you could take tap water, really. They'll take whatever. Pour over here. It all seeps down through to the bottom. You want to make sure the water doesn't stay in here because the worms will drown and they'll die if they get too much water. But then you open this here, and that will release all the water that you just put in there, and you can fill up a container here, and that makes a nice what's called a worm compost tea. It's one of the most nutritious things you can give to your plants. It'll make them thrive. They'll grow like crazy. No chemicals, absolutely natural, absolutely organic. So this provides me a way to feed my plants. You'll see in many of the episodes that I use this compost tea for my plants to help them grow. So this not only provides the worm castings or the vermicompost or the worm poop for my plants, but it also gives me a nice compost tea that I can water my plants with and also help fertilize, and that produces all kinds of nutrients for the plants, and micronutrients and microorganisms that will thrive in the soil as a result. Plus, every so often I can release a worm into the soil, and it'll help aerate the soil and keep it well aerated, which plants need as well. You can get this worm farm on Amazon. The link is right down below. Just go down and click on the link, It's about 70 bucks for one of the cheaper versions. Very inexpensive, and totally prevents you from having to buy new fertilizer for your plants, and really helps create a sustainable garden for your entire garden, so you're not having to go out and continue buying from the store. So that's basically it. Here we have an entire worm farm in a box. The worms are in here, nice and sturdy. Got the worm farm. I make my compost tea down here, and that's it. I'm Jesse Stay with GeekGreens.com.